Crystal Ball Part 1. The cosmic shift begins. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. Have you ever paused in the middle of your day and felt something strange in the air, like the wind had shifted, but there was no breeze? Like the world was holding its breath for something, but you didn't know what? Scorpio, if you've been feeling that eerie calm before the cosmic storm, you're not imagining it. Because the truth is, something massive has begun, and you, whether you realize it or not, are standing at the entrance of a spiritual threshold. May is not just another month, and May 31st is not just another date. It is a spiritual deadline, an invisible line between your past self and who you're destined to become. The silent call of Pluto. As a Scorpio, you are not ruled by gentle winds or warm breezes. You are ruled by Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, secrets, and power. This is no small thing. Pluto is not a teacher of soft lessons. It teaches by stripping away. It teaches by fire, by shadow, by silence. And in the final days of May, Pluto is whispering louder than ever. But not in words, in feelings, in signs, in dreams. I have studied the stars for decades, and what I see in the alignment leading up to May 31st is rare. A combination of astrological pressure and psychic activation. A moment when your soul is being nudged, pushed towards something greater. When life stops making logical sense. Let's start with a truth that's hard to admit. Sometimes, your life will start falling apart. Not because something's wrong, but because something higher is trying to emerge. Scorpio, this might be the time when you suddenly feel disconnected from people you've known for years. Your favorite places feel foreign. The goals you once chased no longer excite you. This isn't depression. It's dissonance, the soul's way of saying, you're outgrowing your old vibration. Think of a snake shedding its skin. That skin didn't become bad. It just became too small. You're not breaking down. You're breaking free. The cosmic clock is ticking. Pluto doesn't send a calendar invite. It sends pressure, restlessness, emotional intensity. And lately, I know many of you have been feeling exactly that. Let me be clear. If your sleep has been disturbed, if your dreams have been vivid or unsettling, if your heart feels like it's racing even when you're sitting still, these are not symptoms of anxiety. These are symptoms of activation. Your soul knows what time it is, even if your mind is confused. And as we approach May 31st, the energy tightens. This isn't a prediction. This is preparation. A true story, when the shift came without warning. Let me share the story of Anais, a Scorpio woman I worked with in 2017. She was a successful architect in Paris. Structured, logical, grounded. Then, in the span of a week, 3 things happened. She broke up with her fiancé without fully knowing why. She resigned from her job after a sudden anxiety attack in a meeting. She dreamed of a red serpent 3 nights in a row, coiled around her own voice. Terrified, she came to me asking, "What's wrong with me?" But I told her the truth. Nothing is wrong. You are simply in labor, and your new self is trying to be born. 2 years later, Anais was living in Bali, running a spiritual retreat center, speaking 5 languages, and helping women through transformation. The same woman who once designed skyscrapers now builds inner temples. The shift did not arrive gently, but it arrived right on time. The cosmic blueprint of May. This isn't just anecdotal. Astrologically, the final week of May 2025 holds a powerful trine between Pluto, Neptune, and the Moon's North Node. Translation: your past karma, your deep subconscious, and your soul's destiny are converging. This convergence will pull apart anything false in your life. False friendships, false ambitions, false identities. They will begin to crack, not to destroy you, but to unearth the truth buried beneath. Scorpio, you were never meant to stay in shallow waters. Your gift is depth, transformation, resurrection. But before a phoenix rises, it must first burn. The choice, ignore or embrace. Here's where most people make the mistake. They try to fix the old instead of making space for the new. But Scorpio, you know better. You know that when something feels off, it's not always a problem to solve. Sometimes, it's a signal to evolve. So ask yourself, what in your life feels heavy, but not meaningful? What are you holding on to out of habit, not heart? What version of yourself are you clinging to that deep down you know is expired? Be honest, because May 31st is approaching, and that's not a threat. It's an invitation, a spiritual rite of passage. I want you to try something tonight. Before bed, sit in silence. Put your hand on your heart and whisper, "I release what no longer serves my soul." Then listen. Listen not with your ears, but with your body. Do you feel a tightness? A tear? A breath of relief? That's the beginning of the cosmic shift. And remember, Scorpio, you are not meant to live a small life. You are not meant to be half awake. You are here, now, because the stars have aligned for your awakening. To be continued. This is just the beginning. In part 2, we'll dive deep into the first sacred sign that your destiny is unfolding. A strange, irrational urge to let go of the things you once loved. And why this is not a breakdown, but your soul's sacred initiation. Fire Part 2, letting go, the first initiation. What feels like falling apart is often your soul falling into place. When nothing feels right anymore. Have you noticed it lately? The job you once felt secure in now feels suffocating. The friend you used to laugh with now leaves you drained. The room you once decorated with love now feels like a cage. You're not imagining this shift, Scorpio, and you're not being dramatic. This is your soul's first call to let go. Letting go without a reason. The most powerful initiations begin not with logic, but with discomfort. And for Scorpio, the discomfort you're feeling is not from the outside world. It's from within. Something is rising in you that no longer matches your outer reality. You may hear thoughts like, "I don't belong here anymore. Why doesn't this excite me like it used to? I can't explain it, but I know I need to walk away." Let me be clear. This is not escapism. This is alignment. Your soul is shifting vibrations. And when that happens, the people, jobs, beliefs, and patterns that once matched your frequency begin to fall away. A client's story, when walking away, is the bravest thing. I once worked with a Scorpio man named Elias. He was a lawyer in New York City, sharp, successful, respected. But out of nowhere, he began to dread the courtroom. He started feeling claustrophobic in his own suits. And at night, he'd dream of standing barefoot on a cliff, facing the sea. No tragedy happened. No drama unfolded. Just a growing ache inside that said, "This is not who I am anymore." He resisted for 6 months. Tried to fix it. Blamed burnout. Took vacations. But the ache grew louder. One day he quit. No plan, just faith. Fast forward 2 years. Elias is a spiritual counselor in Peru, leading breathwork retreats. He works barefoot. He sleeps under the stars. He never looked back. His old life wasn't bad. It was just no longer true. Letting go, for him, was the initiation into his real path. The spiritual science behind this shift. From an esoteric perspective, letting go is not just a psychological process. It is a karmic event. You see, every relationship, job, home, or habit holds a soul contract. And when that contract expires, your higher self starts pulling away. This is why the discomfort comes before the clarity. Because your soul knows what's done long before your ego accepts it. So when you start losing interest in your old life, you are not breaking your commitments. You are honoring your growth. Signs that your soul contract is ending. You feel irrational resentment toward people you once loved. You crave solitude, silence, or nature. You get physical symptoms, tight chest, insomnia, sudden exhaustion. You can't fake enthusiasm anymore. You feel like something inside you is dying. And it is. But it's not you. It's the outdated self that no longer serves your expansion. The spiritual meaning of breaking up. Let's talk about breakups. Not just romantic ones, but all endings. Breakups are sacred. They signify that a cycle has completed. If you're suddenly distancing from friends you've known for years, a city you've loved, a career you've built, that's not betrayal. That's evolution. And evolution demands sacrifice. The old life will fight back. Here's the part most people don't talk about. When you start letting go, the old life will try to pull you back. You'll get a surprise job offer. An ex will text you. Suddenly, everyone needs you again. This is a test. It's the universe asking, do you really want what you prayed for? Or are you still attached to what's familiar? Letting go requires courage. Not because of what you lose, but because of what you risk finding. Your true self. A practice for sacred release. Tonight, write a list of the things, people, or habits you know are no longer in alignment. Then, next to each one, write, "Thank you. I release you with love." Burn the paper, or bury it, or whisper it into the wind. Let it be a ritual, a declaration, a beginning. Let it be your first initiation. Closing thoughts. You are not lost. Scorpio, you are not drifting. You are detaching. And detachment is not emptiness. It is expansion. You are not broken. You are being reassembled. You are not falling. You are being caught by the future version of you who already knows the way. What's next? In part 3, we will dive into the emotional landscape of grief, not as a wound, but as a spiritual compass. You'll learn why grief is often the first sign of rebirth and how to move through it with power and peace. Waxing Crescent Moon Part 3, The Grief of Growth, Navigating the In-Between. Grief is not the end. It is the evidence that something sacred is beginning. The sacred space between who you were and who you're becoming. There's a space nobody talks about enough. It's not the before. It's not the after. It's the in-between. That awkward, emotional, quiet hallway between who you used to be and who you're becoming. This space is filled with grief. And if you're feeling lost, tired, or hollow right now, Scorpio, it's because you're walking this hallway. And make no mistake, this isn't weakness. It's spiritual labor. Grief is not just for loss, it's for transformation. We've been taught that grief only belongs to death, but the soul knows better. Grief shows up when you leave behind a version of yourself. You walk away from a dream you outgrew. You say goodbye to an identity that once defined you. And Scorpio, master of death and rebirth, you feel this more deeply than most. Because for you, evolution isn't just change. It's an emotional exorcism. Why you might feel emotionally off lately. You might be asking, why am I crying over something that's technically good for me? Why do I feel empty even though I made the right choice? Why do I feel like I'm nowhere and no one right now? Because grief doesn't wait for logic. It follows the rhythm of your spirit, not your schedule. Grief is a soul detox, a way to honor what was, even when what was is no longer aligned. A real story, the grief that awakened her. Let me tell you about Mira, a Scorpio nurse from Toronto. She had spent 10 years working in emergency rooms, saving lives, managing chaos, and burying her own feelings. Then came the pandemic. She burned out. She left medicine. Everyone told her it was the right thing. And logically it was. But in the silence that followed, she started crying daily. She grieved the woman who used to feel needed. The identity she built around service. The adrenaline. The purpose. The pride. At first, she thought something was wrong, until she realized she wasn't grieving the loss of her job. She was grieving the death of her old self. Only when she sat with that grief did she hear her next calling. Today, Mira runs a retreat center in Canada's forests, helping burnt-out healers find their way home to themselves. Her tears were not weakness. They were the seeds of her rebirth. The spiritual function of grief. Grief is not an obstacle. It is a spiritual companion. It comes to help you release identity attachments, soften your armor, remind you that your heart still feels. If you are crying, isolating, feeling nostalgic, or even numb, you're not regressing. You're releasing. How to grieve the old you. There's no perfect ritual, but there are sacred ways to honor this phase. 1. Write a letter to your old self. Thank them. Bless them. Say goodbye. Dear version of me who stayed small to feel safe. I love you, but I no longer need to be you. 2. Light a candle for what you've lost. Let the flame carry away the echoes of what was. 3. Allow space for stillness. Don't rush this phase. Don't pressure yourself to move on. This is not a pause. This is the actual path. Physical signs that you're in the in-between. Unexplained fatigue. Emotional swings. Intense dreams. Pull toward nature or solitude. Desire to declutter everything. These are not random. They are signs that your soul is processing lifetimes of transformation. Scorpio, you are being prepared, not punished. From grief to gratitude. One day soon, you'll look back and thank this space. You'll realize that this season of sadness showed you your depth, returned you to your intuition, brought you closer to your truth. You'll stop saying, "Why did this happen to me?" and start saying, "Thank you for waking me up." A meditation. In this grief, I remember who I am. Take a breath. Place your hand on your heart. Whisper, "In this grief, I remember who I am. I am not lost. I am becoming." Let the tears come. Let the numbness speak. Let the silence echo. Because beyond this grief is your next great love. And that love is your true self. Next chapter. In part 4, we'll unlock the codes behind the mysterious angel numbers. 888, 999, 1111, and why the universe is suddenly speaking to you in symbols. Prepare to learn how these numbers are not random, but divine confirmations that your new timeline is activating. Input numbers part 4, sacred numbers and divine timing. Unlocking the messages of 888, 999, and 1111. When numbers start speaking to you, it's because words are no longer enough. When the universe speaks in numbers, you glance at the clock, 1111. You get a receipt, $8.88. You pass a street sign, 999. Coincidence? Not even close. Scorpio, when you start seeing repeating numbers everywhere, it's because the universe is whispering through symbols. And not just any symbols. These are divine codes, timed precisely to awaken your spiritual memory. They are cosmic breadcrumbs, placed exactly where you'll see them, so that you'll stop doubting your path. Why Scorpios notice these signs first? You were never meant to live on the surface. Scorpio, your energy dives deep, beneath words, beneath appearances, beneath time itself. That's why you're the first to notice patterns that others miss. Repeating numbers are not just strange little synchronicities. They are spiritual timestamps, markers of alignment, proof that something larger is organizing your evolution. A true story, the 999 that saved a life. There was a Scorpio named Claire. She was on the edge, emotionally exhausted, spiritually empty, contemplating leaving everything behind. One day, driving home in silence, her phone buzzed with a random quote. When something ends, something greater begins. As she looked up, a car passed her. The license plate? 999 Zen. It stopped her breath. Later that night, her therapist mentioned the death of the ego. Claire broke down, not because she was afraid, but because she realized she wasn't dying. She was ending a cycle. That 999 wasn't a number. It was a lifeline. Let's break them down. Each number carries a vibration, a code, a message. Let's unlock the 3 most sacred ones appearing in Scorpio's field right now. Crystal Ball 888, the number of abundance. When you see 888, it means the universe has noticed your effort. Your reward is coming. But this isn't just about money. It's about energetic compensation. That forgiveness you gave without receiving apology? Paid. That courage to walk away from toxicity? Paid. That quiet inner work nobody saw? Paid. 888 means financial upgrades, divine opportunities, alignment with your purpose. But most importantly, it means you are now attracting what you used to chase. You've entered resonance, where effort becomes effortless, where alignment replaces force. Scorpio, you didn't hustle for this. You healed for this. And now, the universe responds. Fire 999, the sacred ending. This number hits deep. Scorpio, you are the sign of endings. And 999 is your spiritual mirror. When this number appears, something important is closing. A relationship that once defined you. A belief that kept you small. A story you've outgrown. But remember, Scorpio doesn't just end. Scorpio transforms. 999 is not just a death. It's the invitation to resurrection. It means, release the old timeline. Your phoenix wings are ready. Milky Way 1111, the portal of alignment. The most famous of all sacred numbers. 1111 is not cute. It's cosmic surgery. It means, the veil is thin. Your intuition is sharp. What you're thinking right now matters deeply. Every time you see 1111, ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What was I about to do? Because the moment 1111 appears, you are standing at a portal, a choice point, a moment that could shift your entire timeline. It's the universe saying, yes, this, now. So pause, breathe, align, act. How to respond when numbers appear. Don't just smile and scroll past them. Instead, pause, acknowledge, whisper, I see you. Reflect, what's happening internally? Act, follow the next aligned nudge. Numbers mean nothing if we don't move with them. A practice, creating your number diary. Start today. Create a section in your journal titled Sacred Numbers and Synchronicities. Each time a number shows up, write it down. Record the time, the place, the emotion you felt. Reflect on what it might be affirming or redirecting. Over time, you'll see patterns. And more importantly, you'll build trust. Trust that you're not alone. That something higher is navigating with you. Why this matters right now. We are approaching May 31st, the spiritual threshold. Between now and then, these numbers will increase. They are aligning you, not just with what you desire, but with who you truly are. Scorpio, when numbers speak, it's because the universe knows you're finally ready to listen without filters. Closing thought, these numbers are calling you home. You've always known there's more. You've always seen deeper than others. These numbers aren't a new language. They're the language you forgot you once knew. Now it's returning, and with it, so is your power. Next chapter. In part 5, we'll explore the psychic flashes and prophetic dreams that have begun surfacing around you. You'll understand why your dreams feel more vivid, and what it means when your gut speaks before the logic kicks in. Prepare to meet your future self in visions. Crystal Ball Part 5, Visions and Prophecy. When the future starts speaking through you, you're not just dreaming anymore. You're remembering the future. When the future starts whispering, have you ever woken up with your heart pounding from a dream that felt too real to ignore? Or found yourself thinking about someone, only for them to text minutes later? Or had a gut feeling so strong, it changed your entire day? Scorpio, these are not coincidences. They are prophecies in motion. And in this exact chapter of your life, right before May 31st, these inner visions are accelerating. You are not just living life anymore. You're interacting with time itself. Why Scorpios are naturally psychic? Let's get something clear. Scorpio is not just a water sign. Scorpio is the deepest of the water signs. You don't just feel emotions, you feel energy. You sense patterns in silence. You hear the unspoken. This is not superstition. This is your birthright. Your ruling planet Pluto governs the underworld, hidden knowledge, the subconscious mind. So when dreams, visions, and flashes increase, it's not random. It's Pluto activating your inner oracle. A true story, the dream that saved her life. Let me tell you about Lucia, a Scorpio woman from Chile. She began having the same dream over and over. A storm, a road, and her mother calling her name. She dismissed it at first. Stress, she thought. Anxiety. But one night, the dream shifted. This time, her mother whispered, "Don't take that road tomorrow." Chills down her spine. She listened, changed her route the next day. An accident happened on that very road. Same time, she was safe. Why? Because her dream wasn't fantasy, it was foresight. Scorpio, you've had dreams like this too. You felt something coming before it ever arrived. That is prophetic sight, dream symbols and their meanings. When your subconscious becomes active, it speaks in images, not words. Common Scorpio-coded dream symbols. Water, emotional clarity or turmoil. Snakes, transformation, shedding past versions. Falling or flying, transition in identity. Doors, spiritual opportunities opening. Fire, purification and rebirth. Shadowy figures, aspects of the self asking to be seen. These are not random. They are sacred messages tailored for you. Daytime visions, when intuition takes over. But it's not just happening in your dreams. Lately, you may be sensing people's emotions before they speak, feeling uncomfortable around someone you once trusted, hearing a quiet voice saying, "Don't go there, call her," or say yes. Scorpio, that is claircognizance, the knowing that doesn't need logic. It's not anxiety. It's not paranoia. It's your intuitive muscle awakening. How to differentiate fear from intuition. Fear screams. Intuition whispers. Fear tells you what might go wrong. Intuition shows you what already is. If a thought brings peace, even if it's scary, it's probably your inner wisdom. If a thought causes panic or spiraling, it's likely your wounded mind. The more you honor the whispers, the louder they become. A practice, the vision journal. Every morning, before grabbing your phone, write what you dreamed, what symbols stood out, what emotion lingered, what inner voice you heard upon waking. Then ask, what does this want me to see? Do this daily, not just to understand your dreams, but to build a bridge between your waking life and your soul's instructions. Spiritual reasons your intuition is heightened now. Planetary alignments. Pluto and Neptune activating the intuitive centers of Scorpio. Karmic completion. As May 31st nears, soul contracts end and new roles activate. Timeline acceleration. You're being called into your purpose faster than expected. You are sensing the future not because you're lucky, but because you've been trained for lifetimes to hear what others ignore. Don't brush this off. How many times have you ignored your gut? only to regret it later. This is the season to stop doubting and start decoding. Scorpio, you are walking through two worlds now. 1 foot in the visible, 1 foot in the divine. Use that. Trust that. Because the visions coming to you are instructions. They are maps. They are the language of your higher self, saying, don't wait. Act. Align. Become. Closing thought. The dreams are calling. You are not crazy. You are not lost. You are being initiated. Each vision is a gift. Each dream, a doorway. The more you trust them, the clearer your path becomes. And if you've been waking at 3:33 a.m., the veil is thin. Your guides are speaking. Listen. Write. Move. Transform. Next chapter. In part 6, we'll explore how Scorpio can balance between the mystical realm and the material world, and how to walk with power, not fear, through a life that is rapidly transforming. It's time to become both grounded and guided. Globe showing Europe-Africa Part 6. Walking between worlds. Grounded spirituality for Scorpio's awakening. You weren't meant to escape the world. You were meant to transform it from the inside out. You're not going crazy, you're expanding. Scorpio, as your dreams intensify, your senses awaken, and your desire for silence deepens, one question might haunt you. Am I still connected to reality? The answer is yes, but not just one reality. You are walking between worlds. 1 foot in the visible, the roles, jobs, errands, and routines. 1 foot in the invisible, the signs, whispers, emotions, and dreams. This is not delusion. It's dimension holding, and you were born to do it. The duality that defines you. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, lord of the underworld. But you are also a fixed water sign, solid, strategic, present. You are not either / or. You are both. You feel things deeply, yet hide them perfectly. You crave transcendence, but can manage a boardroom like a general. You meditate at dawn and close business deals by noon. This is not contradiction. It's alchemy. Your gift is not leaving the material world. Your gift is bringing spirit into it. A story, the healer who wore a suit. Let me tell you about Derek, a Scorpio investment consultant in Singapore. He never spoke about spirituality, but every time a client walked into his office, he could sense their inner conflict before they said a word. He would adjust their portfolios, yes, but often his advice went deeper. This decision is based on fear. Are you sure it's what your soul wants? People cried in his office, hugged him, changed their lives. He wore a suit, but underneath, he was a healer disguised as a strategist. That's Scorpio, not mystical or mundane. Mystical within the mundane, living your truth without leaving your life. You don't need to move to a mountaintop. You don't need to renounce money or leave your relationship. You just need to start listening more deeply, acting from alignment, and letting your inner world lead your outer choices. You're not here to escape the matrix. You're here to change it with your energy. How to stay grounded while awakening. 1. Create sacred structure. Have routines, but make them meaningful. Tea can be a ceremony. Journaling can be a portal. 2. Anchor through the body. Walk, breathe, dance, swim. Your body is your bridge between worlds. 3. Build a private sanctuary. A corner of your room, a shelf, a candle where spirit meets form. 4. Let your work reflect your soul. Even if it's subtle, infuse your tasks with presence, integrity, and love. That's spirituality in action. Why this matters before May 31st. As the energetic pressure builds toward May 31st, your intuitive gifts are rising. But if they're not grounded, they'll overwhelm you. You might feel tired all the time, overstimulated by people, frustrated with the slowness of normal life. This is because your frequency is increasing, but your daily life hasn't adjusted. That gap causes friction. And Scorpio, you can't afford to ignore it anymore. You must integrate, not escape. A practice, the two-world check-in. Each evening, ask yourself, what did I do today in the visible world? What did I feel or sense in the invisible world? Where did those two worlds meet? Write your answers. This practice builds the bridge between realms so that your intuition becomes part of your daily strategy, not just your dreams. The power of being multidimensional. You are not broken for feeling too much. You are tuned in. You are not behind for moving slowly. You are aligning. You are not weak for walking away from shallow things. You are wise. Scorpio, you are not just a sign. You are a spiritual archetype of depth, power, and transcendence, living in human skin. Closing thought, ground your gifts. The divine doesn't want you to be unreachable. It wants you to be undeniable. It doesn't want you to float away. It wants you to root in and rise. Because the more you integrate your truth into your life, the more you become a living portal. A Scorpio that walks through fire and leaves the world better with every silent step. Next chapter, in part 7, we'll explore the millionaire timeline. Not just financial wealth, but energetic wealth, purpose, alignment, flow, impact. You'll learn why everything is aligning for you to receive what you once chased, but only if you dare to fully claim it. Money with Wings Part 7, claiming the millionaire timeline, energetic wealth and divine flow for Scorpio. What you once had to chase, you're now aligned to receive. What is the millionaire timeline? Let's be honest. The word millionaire often triggers thoughts of money, status, luxury. But in this sacred context, it means something much deeper. A timeline where your energy, purpose, and power are fully aligned, and the universe responds in kind. Money may be part of it, but more than that, it's about energetic wealth, clarity, opportunity, magnetism, ease. It's when the right people appear, the doors open effortlessly. You create more by doing less. You receive more by simply being you. Scorpio, this timeline exists for you, but it won't wait forever. Why Scorpios often delay their blessings. You are wired for depth, not comfort. You've spent lifetimes healing others, protecting secrets, carrying karma, avoiding attention. You were taught that power must come with struggle, that wealth means danger, that being seen is unsafe. So what do? You play small. You dim your gifts. You sabotage the very blessings you prayed for. But no more. Because May 31st is not just a date. It's a spiritual deadline, a fork in the road. You either step into your millionaire timeline or stay stuck in karmic circles that keep proving you're not enough. A real story, from shadow to success. Meet Nyla, a Scorpio artist from Morocco. For years, she painted in secret. Grew up in poverty, told by family that art was impractical. She believed it, until one dream changed her life. She saw herself standing in a gallery filled with fire-colored paintings. A voice whispered, "Your gifts are currency." She cried, woke up, posted her first piece online, heart pounding. Within a week, it sold for $2,000. Within a year, she was commissioned by galleries across Europe. Not because she changed her style, but because she aligned with her timeline. Scorpio, your gifts are currency too. But first, you must believe that you are the vault. How to activate the millionaire timeline. 1. Shift from seeking to receiving. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do?" ask, "What am I ready to allow?" 2. Declare, "I am safe to be seen." Visibility is your next spiritual test. Scorpio doesn't need the spotlight, but your light deserves to be seen. 3. Move with magnetism, not hustle. Stop chasing. Start embodying. Ask yourself, what version of me already has the life I want? Then become that now. Signs you're entering this timeline. Unexpected money flows in. Opportunities align with your values. You feel peace instead of pressure. You attract people who honor your energy. You no longer tolerate chaos. This is not luck. It's frequency. You're no longer vibrating from fear. You're moving in trust. A practice, daily timeline embodiment. Every morning, say aloud, "I align with the timeline where I am wealthy, whole, and walking in divine purpose. I am safe to receive. I am ready to expand. I welcome miracles today." Then live your day as if it's already true. Because once you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, life has no choice but to catch up. Why this timeline is available now? Because you've done the work. You've grieved. You've let go. You've listened to the dreams. Now it's time to receive the reward. May 31st is not about waiting. It's about choosing. And here's the truth. Blessings don't arrive when you're perfect. They arrive when you're ready. And Scorpio, you are ready. Closing thought. You are the portal. You are not waiting for destiny. You are the destiny. You are not hoping for abundance. You're becoming the vibration that attracts it. You don't need permission to rise. You just need alignment. So take a deep breath. Say it now, out loud or in your heart. I claim my millionaire timeline. I am ready. I am enough. And as you say that, the entire universe shifts with you. Next chapter, in part 8, we'll explore the final shedding before the leap. How Scorpio must release ancestral fear, heal their relationship with power, and step fully into soul-level leadership. Because when you rise, Scorpio, you don't just change your life, you shift generations. Scorpion Part 8, Beyond Survival, Releasing Fear and Rising into Scorpio Soul Leadership. You were never just meant to survive. You were born to transmute the darkness into light. Survival is not your destiny. Scorpio, let's be honest. You've learned how to survive. Through heartbreak, through betrayal, through loss, through loneliness. You know how to hold your breath through the storm. You know how to function with a bleeding heart. You know how to protect others while hiding your own pain. But surviving is not the same as living. And it's definitely not the same as leading. Because now, right now, the call is not to endure. It's to elevate the fears that linger from your past. Before you rise, you must name what still holds you down. Scorpio often carries ancestral fear, unspoken, invisible, inherited. If I shine too brightly, I'll be attacked. If I'm too powerful, I'll lose love. If I step out of the shadows, I'll be exposed. These beliefs aren't yours. They were handed down like heirlooms, wrapped in silence, sealed with shame. But here's the truth. You are not your ancestors' wounds. You are their wildest healing. A true story, the Scorpio who broke the chain. Let me tell you about Jared, a Scorpio from New Orleans. He came from a line of men who never showed emotion. His grandfather fought in wars. His father drank to forget. Jared almost followed suit. Until one day, his 6-year-old son cried during a movie. Jared's instinct? Tell him to toughen up. But something inside cracked open. He remembered all the times he had cried alone. That night, he knelt beside his son's bed, placed a hand on his chest, and whispered, "You're allowed to feel. You're safe now." In that moment, Jared didn't just heal his son. He healed 5 generations of silence. That's leadership. That's Scorpio power. You were born to carry mystery, not misery. Scorpio rules the 8th house. Death, rebirth, shared energy, the occult. You're not here to hide your power. You're here to wield it. Wisely, responsibly, quietly. The world is full of noise. Scorpio leads through presence. Not through shouting, but through resonance. You walk into a room and people feel safer because they know you've been through the fire. But now, you're not just here to survive the fire. You're here to guide others through it. Leadership for Scorpio looks different. You don't need a podium. You don't need a crowd. You don't need a spotlight. You lead by holding space when others collapse. Speaking the truth no one else will. Standing firm in your knowing. Transmuting pain into power. You lead in hospitals, in boardrooms, in kitchens, in prayer. You lead in silence, in honesty, in stillness. And Scorpio, you do it by being exactly who you are. A practice, the fear release ritual. Tonight, write down, what am I still afraid will happen if I fully step into my power? Don't censor. Be raw. Be real. Then, burn the paper. Say aloud, this fear is not mine. I return it to the earth. I rise in truth, not in trauma. Feel the shift. This is not symbolic. It is energetic. And Scorpio energy moves through ritual. The responsibility of power. The universe doesn't give leadership to those who crave control. It gives it to those who've earned wisdom through pain. You didn't suffer for decoration. You suffered for transformation. And now that you've healed, let others see your scars. Not as wounds, but as maps. Because someone out there needs to know that it's survivable. That there's life after heartbreak. That there's power in being soft. That death, emotional, symbolic, spiritual, is not the end. It's a door. And Scorpio, you hold the key. Closing thought. Lead from the shadow. The world doesn't need more loud leaders. It needs more honest ones. It needs Scorpio, the guardian of truth, the keeper of cycles, the transformer of pain. So step forward, not with force, but with presence. Say it now from your soul. I am no longer afraid of my power. I lead from my truth. I rise for us all. Next chapter. In part 9, we approach the threshold. The countdown to May 31st, the final alignment, and the moment where everything changes. You'll learn how to prepare energetically for the arrival of what you've been sensing all along. It's not the end, it's your arrival. Milky Way Part 9, the threshold, preparing for the May 31st transformation. You're not waiting for the future anymore. You're stepping into it, fully awake. The moment before the shift. It's quiet now, isn't it? Too quiet, maybe. There's a stillness that almost feels sacred, like the pause before the music swells, like the hush before the tide turns, like the silence just before lightning cracks the sky. Scorpio, you are standing in that moment. This is not the ending. This is the threshold. May 31st is not just a calendar date. It's a cosmic intersection. The old version of you is fading, and the true you is preparing to arrive. Signs you're at the edge of a breakthrough. You feel intense anticipation without knowing why. You're more sensitive to energy, words, and people. Sleep is deeper, but dreams are more vivid. You feel like something is building, but can't see it yet. You crave solitude, but also connection on a soul level. These aren't mood swings. They're energetic contractions. You're not falling apart. You're being rearranged. A true story, the woman who stepped through the fire. Let me tell you about Leona, a Scorpio healer from Greece. For months, she felt the world pulling her in every direction. Clients, family, fear, doubt. Then one morning, she woke up shaking. Not from fear, but from knowing. She lit a candle, turned off her phone, and sat in silence for 3 hours. In that stillness, she saw a vision. Herself standing in a white dress, holding a torch. She didn't understand it yet, but she knew something inside had shifted. The next day, she walked away from a toxic business partnership. A week later, she opened her own sanctuary. A month later, she found peace she hadn't felt in years. That white dress. She wore it at the launch of her healing retreat on May 31st. That moment of silence was her threshold, and she stepped through it without fear. Scorpio, now it's your turn. What the planets are doing right now. From a cosmic lens, late May 2025 holds a rare, energetic combination. Pluto, your ruler, trining the moon, emotional clarity through power. Neptune aligning with Mercury, dreams turning into words, intuition into action. Mars and Cancer, fierce protection of emotional truth. Translation, you're not being pushed anymore. You're being summoned. You are being asked to stand still and receive. How to prepare for the transformation. 1. Clean your space, clear your energy. Declutter physically, burn sage, wash your sheets. Energetic rebirth starts with environmental readiness. 2. Journal with intention. Prompt. Who am I becoming? And what must I leave behind to become them? Be honest, brutally honest. This isn't for aesthetics. This is for activation. 3. Meditate at sunrise and sunset. These are the threshold hours. The veil is thinner. You'll hear more, see more, understand more. Even 5 minutes a day will reconnect you to your higher self. 4. Speak a new reality into being. Write a short statement you'll repeat daily, like, I crossed the threshold with grace, courage, and clarity. I am aligned with my soul's highest path. I am ready for everything I once feared. What to expect around May 31st. Expect clarity. It may come in the form of a surprising message, a sudden decision, an internal click you can't explain, a pull so strong, you move without hesitation. This is not fantasy. This is alignment. You'll know it's real because it won't require overthinking. It will feel natural, magnetic, right? A warning, do not shrink back. When the moment comes, doubt will creep in. It always does. It'll whisper, what if I'm wrong? What if it doesn't work out? What if I lose everything? But remember this, fear is loudest right before the miracle. And courage is not about the absence of fear. It's about walking through the threshold anyway. Closing thought, this is your divine arrival. You've released, you've grieved, you've awakened. Now, Scorpio, you arrive. Not as a survivor, not as a seeker, but as a sovereign soul. So when the clock strikes midnight on May 31 ST, don't just celebrate the date. Celebrate the decision. The decision to say yes. To take the next step. To claim the life your soul has been calling for. Because it's not coming. It's here. Final chapter next. In part 10, we close this journey. We'll look back at the signs, the struggles, the transformations, and gather the final lessons you'll carry forward. Because the truth is, Scorpio, you've already stepped through the fire. Now it's time to live on the other side of it. Sunrise Part 10. The Integration. Living as the new you beyond May 31st. Transformation isn't a moment. It's a practice. And now it begins. After the fire, who are you now? Scorpio, you've walked through the flames. You've let go of what no longer served. You've cried sacred tears. You've heard the whispers of dreams and numbers and visions. You felt the soul-level ache of becoming. And now, as the calendar turns beyond May 31 SD, there is no going back. But here's what no one tells you. The real challenge is not crossing the threshold. It's learning how to live on the other side. Because rebirth isn't about change. It's about embodiment. The new you is not a concept. You've met her in dreams. You've glimpsed him in moments of clarity. You felt them rising from your bones during meditation or silence. Now, it's time to become that version every single day. And that takes practice, patience, presence. The new you speaks with more truth, loves with more depth, walks with more calm, chooses peace over performance, attracts instead of chases. But that doesn't mean the old life won't come knocking. When old patterns test the new you, after big shifts, the universe will send tests. The ex will reach out. The old habits will tempt you. The self-doubt will whisper again. This is not punishment. It's a final confirmation. Are you really who you say you are now? Will you choose differently this time? So when these moments come, pause, breathe. Remember, you don't owe the old you anything, except gratitude for getting you here. But you do owe the new you everything. A true story, the woman who didn't return. I once worked with Celine, a Scorpio coach from Portugal. She had just left a toxic corporate job, ended a manipulative relationship, and launched her own healing practice. 3 months in, the fear hit. Income was inconsistent. People judged her. The old job offered her return with double the pay. She almost said yes. But that night, she lit a candle, opened her journal, and wrote, "I will not shrink for a temporary sense of safety. I trust the path I've chosen. I choose to build, not repeat." She stayed on her path. Today, her business supports hundreds, and herself, on all levels. Why? Because she didn't just shift. She stayed integrated. Daily practices to live as the new you. Transformation without integration leads to relapse. So here's how to anchor yourself. 1. Morning presence. Don't grab your phone first. Greet yourself. Ask, who am I showing up as today? 2. Micro-alignment. Throughout the day, whisper, is this aligned with who I've become? If not, pivot. 3. Evening truth scan. Before bed, ask, where did I honor my new self today? Where did I fall back into old patterns? What am I proud of? No shame, just awareness. Who you are now. You are not someone searching for meaning. You are someone living with meaning. You are not a wounded soul begging for proof. You are a powerful being trusting your knowing. You don't need validation anymore. You walk with your own conviction. Scorpio, you are the dreamer who acts, the healer who leads, the survivor who now thrives, the quiet force that changes everything. You are no longer becoming. You are. Closing ritual, claiming the integration. Light a candle. Write this in your journal. I am no longer who I was. I bless that version and let them go. I welcome who I am now. I choose to live, speak, walk, love, and lead as the new me. May every moment reflect this truth. Sit in silence. Feel the words. Let your body receive them. This is your grounding. This is your alignment. This is your arrival. Final words. Scorpio, you didn't just survive May. You transcended it. You didn't just watch the signs. You answered the call. You didn't just burn. You were reborn. So from this moment forward, don't explain your glow. Don't justify your peace. Don't negotiate your intuition. Just live. And every breath, every step, every choice will ripple outward, reshaping the world in quiet, profound, irreversible ways. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more Scorpios who remember who they are. Directed call to action, spoken from the heart. If this video stirred something in you, if you recognized yourself in these words, or you simply admire the unstoppable force of Scorpio energy, then let's keep going deeper together. Glowing stars, subscribe to this channel, The Path to Buddhist Wisdom, because here, we don't just talk about astrology. We awaken ancient truths. We merge mysticism with mastery, and we honor every soul's path to greatness. Hit that bell, leave a comment, and remember, the most powerful journey is the one within.